with Michael and Justin.
It seemed like even though we weren't getting a ton of yards in that initial drive, that the way that Kedrick was running kind of set the tone for the rest of the game. What did you like about his pad level, not going down on first contact, that sort of thing?
Well, the physicality was something we preach. You hear this word a lot. You know, we preach violence in a football manner. We use it in context. But in our room, we have this mantra called FVP, which is fast, violent, and physical. And I've been using that since I've been coaching, and they have bought into that. And then when you have Coach Daggy, which is always preaching violence, and then you got Coach Gonzalez, which is always preaching violence in a football manner, it just goes hand in hand. And we're big on iron sharpens iron. I feel like every day we compete, and in a room like that that's so competitive, and we go against our defense all the time, it gives us an edge. And we felt like watching the film that we knew we was going to have to run through some arm tackles. We knew we was going to have to run through the smoke. They like to load the box, so we really preach that. The guys that have been to our practice, you see us doing some kind of drill every day, but we focus on finishing. And Kedrick, like I mentioned in the off season, he did a great job of just putting on real good muscle, good 5 pounds of muscle, lost all kind of body fat. Cullen Carroll and his staff did a great job with him, and he's a very explosive, powerful running back. And he set the tone for the rest of the night, and you could feel that. You could feel his presence on that first drive. Even though it wasn't many snaps, you can really feel the way he was running.
Justin and Troy.
What was the most impressive part about Quincy and what he showed on Saturday?
To be honest, I'm not trying to sound arrogant or anything, but I told you guys 3 weeks ago about the versatility of the room and the way Quincy had been practicing leading up into the game. We kind of thought this would happen. Now, you don't know when it's going to happen, but as coaches, we talked about it. I even walked in on the day watching Coach Daggy and Coach Gonzalez having the same conversation 2 days prior about Quincy and Kedrick, just how physical they are, how hard to tackle those guys. So he's just had a really, really good camp, from spring to fall. He's close to 200 pounds. He's really solid. He squats over 500 pounds. He bench presses 365. I told you guys in the beginning, pound for pound, he's one of our strongest guys on our team. He's involved in special teams. He just plays hard. So when he came in, it was a different change of pace, but it's still, you're getting that physicality with a little bit more wiggle to him, different vision. He plays different, but very confident that he can go into the game and play like that at any given time. So when you have 3 guys like we have in the room, they all have their own style, but you're very confident that the playbook, you don't have to limit what you do. And he can play physical, he can play fast, he can play on the edge, he can do it all. So I wasn't surprised at all.
And Quincy's one of the FCS guys that you guys added in the offseason.
Yes.
How would you describe the talent that you guys are getting out of that?
We wanted hungry players. Coach Brennan said it way back in the beginning, we wanted players that wanted to be here. We wanted players that wanted to be here at the University of Arizona. We wanted those old school hard hat guys that they used to have. That's what U of A was built on. It wasn't built on all the 4 and 5 star guys. It was built on hard hat guys that loved the game. Coach Tony, he coached my cousin Marcel Wade. He played here, so I got a chance to see this program build in the 80s as well. I knew Coach Tony at San Jose State when he was with Coach Brennan. So everything about the players you see now, they cut from that cloth. Guys from FCS, a group of 5 programs, like a Trey Smith, that just got that chip on their shoulder. Max Harris, guys that really want to show you what they can do, and Quincy is like that.
Troy and then Brian.
A couple questions. So going with the running back group, I think it was pretty balanced attack with Quincy having 7, Kedrick having around 10, and Ishmael around that 7-10 mark too. Mm-hmm. Is that what you want to see moving forward, that balance in the room and trying to use all 3 backs?
Well, I mentioned earlier that we have a chance to use all 3 guys, depending on who has the hot hand and how is it going within the flow of the game, which at halftime we only had the ball 23 times, so it was kind of hard to get a true rhythm, but we did have some big plays, some big chunk plays mixed in there. So we talked to them at halftime. Coach Daggy did a great job of getting the offense motivated to come out on that first drive, because we knew we was getting the ball, to just set the tempo to be able to sustain those drives and get more snaps and be more explosive when we do get the ball. But the biggest thing was, 1, taking care of the ball, making sure we had no turnovers, and 2, working on our finish. And just having a group like that, I'm very confident that any three of those guys can come in there and maintain the physicality and produce in a manner that's going to help us win the game. And then we also got a couple of young guys that you hopefully will be able to see to come in and do the same thing. But right now, those three guys, any of those three can have that type of game like Quincy had.
And then you've talked about Kendrick being the top blocker in the unit, but just your assessment on the others and how they did in the blocking game and protecting no one.
Well, no block, no rock. The theme. I think Quincy as well as Ismail has done a great job of kind of following that mold because they're very, very good on protections. Between Coach Oglesby and Coach Lyle Morval, I want to make sure I give him his credit. We're real detailed when we work with those guys as far as understanding the protections, the fronts, putting in a game plan that makes sense and being able to master that. And Quincy has done a great job. To me, my initial thought was he would be more in the third down role because they had a lot of pressure stuff that they would put in. So that was going into the game plan. That was going to be his role. But like I said, once he got rolling and Kendrick got it going, we just let him stay. And then he bust off a couple of big runs and we just let him play. And then Ismail came in later and finished it off. So having those three players that can do that and have that versatility is truly a blessing to have them, but they earn it. They work hard. All three of those guys play with a chip on their shoulder. You got an FCS guy, you got a group of 5 guy, and then you got another guy that came in the portal from a Power 5 school that felt that they didn't want him there. So I got 3 guys that's going to always have a chip on their shoulder.
Brian and Jason?
Related to the no block, no rock, Kendrick got a holding penalty on the outside. I know that that's not the main blocking role, but considering that happens, how does a running back manage to improve on that when it's a different
It's space. You still got to be able to block in space, and I'll take that. That's a coaching thing. We'll fix it. We watch it on film, and you'll see improvement in that space. Even though you're right, you blocking in the backfield in sequence with the offensive line, but we do a lot of perimeter blocking too because we go against each other. We have, like I say, our defense flies around every day, and we go against some of the best defenders every day when we do those type of drills. So whether it be on the edge, out in the defender in space, or in the backfield, you still need to be able to block. It's more technique and finesse into that, where it's not just you taking on a linebacker coming straight at you. You got to be able to make sure your hands in right and your angles, and you're taking cut off the proper steps to cut that thing off. So that's something that we do every day, and you'll see improvement in that as well.
Is there supposed to be an indication when you know that guy has kind of gotten around you and you need to let go?
Well, I'm not gonna make excuses for him. He was in that situation. Like I said, when Coach Daggy calls a play, regardless who's in the game, whether you in the backfield or out in space, you need to be able to execute the block. And once we watched it, now you have these iPads where you can immediately see the problem. It was just a matter of him overextending himself and grabbing. Once you see where the guy is, cut him off where he's going to be, not where he is. That way you don't have to reach. So once we watched the film and kind of got an idea of what the problem was, it's easily to be corrected. So you will see us be able to block out in space as well as in the backfield. So hopefully, now that we've seen it, you won't see that happen again. But Kendrick is very conscious of that. Those guys enjoy blocking, and perimeter blocking is part of it as well.
Jason and Jenna?
You mentioned with Ked, his strength and getting stronger in the offseason and all that. What else do you think his biggest improvement is?
Oh, leadership. He's on our leadership committee. He's one of the team captains. He's somebody that he earned the respect. He's not a real big talker. He's real close with North Fafita. They're real close. A lot of the guys enjoy him. He kind of have his own little personality. He's real light with me. He's one of the ones in my room when I'm calling myself angry. He'll kind of try to make a joke or something because he can get away with it. Because the other guys will be kind of spooked, like, oh no, and he'll make a joke and I'll be like, man, stop playing with me right now. So he kind of is that leader. He's kind of, like I say, he mentors Wesley as well as Cornelius, because we've got 2 young guys in there. But it's not just in the running back room. He's real close with a lot of guys on defense. Him and Genesis are real close. Him and Chase Kennedy, those guys are real close. So he's just one of the more likable guys on our football team. So when you get a chance, just today, him and Coach Gonzalez was joking in the hallway, going to our meeting, and they was having a full conversation. That's just who he is. He's he's a good young man that comes from a good family. He's a 3.0 student. He's been on the honor roll twice since he's been here. So he's a pleasure to be around on and off the football field.
Jenna and Justin.
Really productive week for you guys. What's the next step you're hoping for your group to take against Weber State?
Oh, we take every competition serious. You know, this is Weber State's an FCS program that's going to come in here with bad intentions. You know, last year I was here when we beat New Mexico and we beat Northern Arizona, but it didn't feel the way we wanted it to feel because you don't want to ride too high off winning that first game just because you beat a group of 5 team. That FCS team is going to come in here and try to beat you on your home field. So it's important that we get off to a fast start on all 3 phases, offense, defense, and special teams. And we have a thing in our room that says be the standard, which is on our running back wall. So I kind of put a lot of pressure on them to start it off. When we get the ball, being physical in the run game, whether it be winning your one-on-one battle, physically running through somebody, or using your stiff arm, which we call our weapon, but some kind of way of setting the tone that carries over to our defense, and then the defense gets a turnover, gets the ball back to us. That's how the game was won. Short field, they forced the punt, and then we got a good punt return in special team space, and we had a short field. So we played complimentary football all night, even though we didn't have that many snaps. You can just feel the presence of the offense and the defense as well as the special teams, and I think that's why we were able to win the way we did, but we know we have a lot of room for improvement, so we're not satisfied with Saturday. We want to continue to get better in all 3 phases.
Last question, Justin.
What have you seen out of Weber State on film?
They do a lot of stuff. They do a lot of stuff. Traditionally, they're one of the best FCS programs in the country. They make the FCS playoffs. You know, I knew a lot of those guys, a lot of coaches that coach over there. I was real close with Jay Hill, their former head coach, and I know Quinton Ganther, which also coached there. I know a couple of coaches on the staff now, so we expect for them to come in here and play. So we're going to have to play our A game. We're not taking nobody for granted. We expect the crowd to be involved. We hope everybody come on out Saturday night, 7 o'clock, and watch a real good football team because we want to give them our best. We're not satisfied with last week. We know we can be better, and we just want to be able to emphasize that, be the more dominant physical football team. But we're going to have to earn that. We're going to have to show that we're the most physical team up front on the O-line as well as the D-line.
And if they're able to get in the game, what's your message to guys like Wesley or Cornelius?
The standard is the standard. You know, it doesn't lower because the young guys get a chance to get in the game. They have to keep the standard going as well. They've been practicing. Wesley got some reps today with us, so we're expecting that standard to be the standard. We get a chance to get those guys repped against our first defense a lot, and they try to give them the best look that they can, but they also are working on getting used to the speed of college football, because just because you're a freshman in college, once you get in that game, you got on Arizona's uniform, that team is coming after you. So we want to make sure that we prepare them, and the standard will be the standard. FVP is what it is. So we're going to play fast, violent, and physical. That's our standard, and they got to live up to it also.